Let's hear from Kylie now.
Hi, my name is Kylie. I'm a working mum full-time and my youngest child attends kindy. Despite the Premier announcing free kindy for all Queenslanders this year, I'm already out of pocket $12,000 to send my one child to kindy. What's your plans to make more affordable childcare moving forward?
It's a lot of money. Premier?
Yeah, thanks for your question. It's a really important one. Our free kindy applies to the kindy component of childcare, and if you're in long daycare, you'll still have those other childcare fees, which are largely regulated and subsidised by the Australian government. But I've put 3 kids through childcare. I know how expensive it can be, and what a relief it is when they finally get to school and you don't have to be paying it anymore. We do hope the free kindy component helps, but we need to keep encouraging the Australian government to provide better funding to our childcare centres so that they can pass those on to families with lower fees.
I was going to say something similar in terms of the federal government. It is important that we work with the Commonwealth. The big issue that a state government can do, though, is to deal with those underlying issues that is causing your stress around those big kitchen table bills. And I look at the underlying principle that has seen our electricity rise by 19.9% in the last 12 months. That's 3 times the national average, while our major power plant has been offline because it wasn't maintained. I look at the spiralling costs of insurance, and youth crime and a lack of flood mitigation has had an impact on that. Transport costs going up because of roads needing to be maintained. These are the things that a state can do. And what I'm saying to Queenslanders is we have to deal with those underlying issues. The free kindy is an excellent initiative. What we need to do is make sure that all of those other components that are really bogging you and your family down, that we deal with them. The long term. So yes, we need immediate relief for things, but we've also got to get back to a time when we deal with those structural issues to put downward pressure on the long term things that are causing you that price pain.
Our next question is with Chris. Thank you, Chris.
G'day, chaps. How's it going? My vote's up for grabs, and we've got a pretty big decision to make. My wife and I have started putting money away for a house deposit after rent has increased 50% in just the last 2.5 years, or since the floods. And I think we're doing all right, but honestly, every time I have a look at what real estate prices are doing around Kedron where we live, just in the northern burbs here, it very much looks like a pipe dream. And it's a real worry because I know there's a lot of people who are doing it tougher than we are. What do we reckon? What have you got?
Good luck. Let's hear from them. Let's go, Premier.
Thanks, Chris. That's a great question and a really important question. You know, I know how important it was for me to scrape together a deposit with Kim and buy our first home, and what that's meant for us and our family in terms of security and stability since then. And I want all Queenslanders to be able to do that. Our Homes for Queenslanders plan supports renters, so it does things like banning rent bidding and provides portable bond loans to make moving around rentals easier. But we also want people who are renting to be able to save to afford a home, and that's why we've doubled the first homeowners grant. We've removed stamp duty on first homes up to $700,000. It tapers off to $800,000. But on prices, we need to increase supply, and that's why we've got billions of dollars going into supporting the infrastructure that will unlock new construction, particularly density construction around existing infrastructure, so particularly train lines. That's where we need to see those additional homes constructed. So that's our $3.1 billion Homes for Queenslanders plan, and it's all about taking care of people like you, Chris.
Mr. Crisafulli, your bid for Chris's vote.
I want to give you hope. I want to give you hope you can own your own home, and you deserve that. And at the moment, our home ownership rate in Queensland is 63.5%, and I've named a shadow minister for home ownership, and if we win the election, we'll have the first ever dedicated one, and it'll be a single point of accountability to go from last to first. And the Premier mentioned it at the end of his answer, it's supply. If you have a look, in the last decade, supply's fallen by 29%, approvals. And we've got to get cracking again. And we've announced an infrastructure fund with councils And it's going to go to those councils who are prepared to get cracking and put supply on the ground to drive down those prices. We are going to remove a tax. So we fought pretty hard to get that stamp duty threshold lifted, but every young person buying or building their first brand new home won't pay a single cent in stamp duty. The Housing Investment Fund, which is for social houses, that was announced 3 years ago, a $2 billion fund, hasn't built a new home yet that a Queenslander is living in. Every cent of that is going to be used for that. And we've got a partnership with the community housing sector to get those faith-based sectors going. Why do I mention those things? Because if we can stop the feeding frenzy at the bottom end of the market, that means that you won't see the crazy spikes in rental prices that you've seen, and that gets you into the market. And that single point of accountability matters. And I want young people who aspire to own a home to be able to own it. I want vulnerable people to have a roof over their head. And I also want Indigenous people who live in their communities, many of whom don't have ability to do that because the way that the schemes are drawn, those old Doggett schemes, I want them to own a home as well.
We will check with Chris afterwards and see who got that vote.